Chapter 13 of the link text is a bit of a potluck. While the main focus of the chapter is on templates, he also discusses operator overloading, friend functions, and the this pointer. Operator overloading and friend function should be pretty familiar to you from CS 150. But let's review these concepts. Assignment and member selection are the only built-in operations on classes. Other operators cannot be applied directly to class objects, so you have to build them yourself. Operator overloading basically extends the definition of an operator to work with the user-defined data type, or a class. C++ allows you to extend the definitions of most of the operators to work with your classes. When we want to overload an operator, we use the reserved word operator followed by the operator itself, for example, plus, minus, or equals, as the function name, and then give the parameters. When we overload operators for a class, we often use friend functions. A friend function is external to a class but behaves like a member function. So you can directly access member variables, and you don't actually need to use the accessor functions when you have a friend. The declaration for a friend function of a class goes within the class definition. This reinforces the connection between this function and the class, and justifies that this function gets special privileges with respect to accessing private member data. If the function is related to a single object, use a member function where the single object calls this function. If you have two or more objects that should be treated symmetrically, then use a friend function and pass the objects as arguments. In this example, the symbol we want to overload is used in place of the function name, but since equal is not a legal identifier, the new keyword operator appears. The operator is a friend of the patient class, so the declaration appears in the class definition. The two objects being compared are treated symmetrically, just as when we wrote a friend function for equality. Note that we followed the usual convention of passing object parameters by reference. This is for storage efficiency, but here we've used const to protect them from change within the code for this operator. There are some restrictions for operators. You can't change the precedence of an operator, you can't create new ones, associativity can't be changed, default parameters can't be used, you can't change the number of parameters for the operator, and you can't create new operators. So the general rule of thumb is to use this technique where it makes sense and to eschew it otherwise. Finally, this. Every object of a class maintains a hidden pointer to itself that is called this. When an object invokes a member function, you can use this to modify the calling object. Think of the this pointer as the object that is under discussion in the same way that colloquial Hawaiian pidgin uses "dekind" to refer to the subject being talked about. The this pointer is useful for functions such as plus, equal, or any member function where you want to access the entire object. It's also useful for when you want to return an object of the same type, since you can simply return this. Well, that's a wrap for the miscellaneous stuff from Chapter 13. A lot of it should be familiar from CS 150, so if it's not, go back and review those sections of CS 150. And if you have any questions, remember to check in with La Lima frequently, and I'll be there to help.